How many books do you think I'll have to read before I find a 5-star horror read? Well, you're about to find out. In this reading vlog, I will be reading until I find a 5-star horror book. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Simple, but I'm also terrified. I feel like I don't give out that many 5 stars, and I've already given a 5-star out this year for horror, so I'm a little nervous. I'm hoping I can find one. I'm hoping it doesn't take me like forever, but who knows. If you would like, you could leave me a comment down below right now to tell me how many books you think I'm going to read. And then as the video goes on, you can see how correct you are. Anyways, let's get right on into the reading. We don't need a long intro. I'm Cassidy. I like to read books. Let's go. This is not really the place I wanted to give you the first update because it's 10 p.m. I just showered. I'm getting ready for bed. However, this book is oddly so addicting and I'm flying through it. I am 45% in. And the thing is, Head Like a Hole is just so weird that like I have no idea what's happening. And it's just so weird and I can't tell if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Like this could go either way. Like I could either really like that I have no idea what's happening and like the story progressing, or I could hate it. It's just so weird. I think I'm enjoying it. Like I think I'm really enjoying it, but I just like don't fully know, which is like a weird place to be in. I need to read the back of this book and give you a synopsis, which I'm not going to do right now, but I need to read the back to make sure I don't spoil anything because I'm not really sure what you're supposed to know going into this book, but just know it's really freaking weird. I finished Head Like a Hole and I don't know how to feel about it. The back of this book literally tells you nothing. It essentially just tells you that we are uncovering a mystery of lost memories with some friends, and elsewhere someone finds a piece of a dead body. And like that's like essentially what you go into this book knowing, and it just gets really weird from there. I do think it's a good weird. It's a weird that kept me very curious the entire time. I was intrigued to figure out what was going on. I had no idea what was happening, but I kept wanting to read to figure out what was happening. This becomes my downfall in a lot of horror books though, because I find a lot of horror books that get this weird end up being a little ambiguous, and I found this one very ambiguous. And although I now understand what exactly happened in this book, I understand the ending, a lot of the ending is up to your own interpretation, up to what you think happened, and I just don't like that. I just don't like that. I want to be told exactly what happened, how we got here. This is the end of the story. Great. I think that's why I like fantasy. And so, although I really enjoyed my journey with this book, I was incredibly frustrated by the lack of answers I got at the end. So I'm giving it 3 stars, which there was a point in this that I was like, if I get a good ending, this could be a 5-star, and then I'm starting this vlog with a 5-star, and like, what do? I can't just have a 1-book vlog. So I'm kind of happy that I ended with a 3-star, but also not, because like obviously I want to find 5 stars. I think a lot of people like this. I know a lot of people who like it. So like if you like a more ambiguous, weird story, please check this out because I think it was a really fun time. My enjoyment was high. Just the logic at times really got to me, and then just like, yeah, like I was hoping the ending would like round out the logic, but it didn't. So that was a thing for me. It's such a quick book, I have nothing to say, but we will be starting my next read, so we can do that. I'm kind of tired today, so I have no energy. Yeah, that happens sometimes when I'm filming. Okay, I'll see you guys in a bit. I'm gonna start Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates for my next book of the vlog. I'm expecting this to be more of a thriller than a horror, but I did really like the other thriller I read by Darcy Coates, so I'm hoping that I will like this one as well. I also have my 2 like really big spooky season bookmarks out. This is Mel's Patreon bookmark for the year, and then this was my September bookmark that went out to my patrons. And I'm not sure which one I'm going to use quite yet. I'm literally only 10 pages in. Like, I literally just updated you with that first clip. And I just have to say, like, Darcy Coates does atmosphere so well. Like, I already feel, like, so much tension for what just went down. And, like, I live in Canada. And, like, the thought of skiing and this happening to me is real. And so, like, it's adding to, like, the anxiety I'm feeling reading. And I think she does a really good job of explaining why this would be so terrifying. And, like, it's so real because these are things that we have been taught. If you are, like, out in the winter and trapped, these are things that you do. These are things that happen to skiers. And, like, my heart is racing reading these first 10 pages. I'm really excited to see what else that this book holds for me. For Halloweekend, there are activities every single weekend, and I actually can participate in this one. So I'm watching the live show, and we are just coloring all together, which I think is so fun that there's like little activities. Obviously, I'm participating Halloweekend all month, even though like I don't have like, this isn't a specific Halloweekend vlog. I also have some spooky atmosphere up. a beer, and then here are pencil crayons, and here are our lovely hosts just chatting away and coloring away. Also, I have not progressed any further in Dead of Winter because I decided to play Cult of the Lamb all day long. Sorry, not sorry. I have made pretty good progress on Dead of Winter. I'm 60% in, so I can tell you some thoughts now. But also look at my Halloweekend coloring page. Isn't it so cute? I figured I should update you when I was done. Dead of Winter. I'm really enjoying. It's definitely a thriller. It's definitely predictable. It's definitely what you would expect by a one-by-one trapped in a snow blizzard story. So like if you don't like any of those, you're probably not gonna like it. However, I'm really enjoying it. This and One by One by Ruth Ware do really remind me of each other. However, I really disliked One by One. I'm really enjoying this. The thing that I like about this is, although I have a feeling that when the murderer is revealed, it's gonna be obvious, I have a guess of who I think it is. I also can see valid reasons for almost everyone else being the murderer, and that's working for me. And I'm really just liking the vibes and the atmosphere. I think we're doing a really good job of setting up that snowy, cold atmosphere, stuck with a bunch of strangers. Who would you trust? Them hiding weapons in their beds, like things like that. Those are things you would do, even though it kind of makes it stupid to do it and let people have weapons. But like, how do you take away the weapon when there's people dying? You know, like how you don't trust anyone. I'm really loving that feeling of like not being able to trust anyone. I love how our main character is going through every single person as like, these are the reasons I can trust them. These are the reasons I can't. This is what I remember from what I was doing at that scene. I find it very analytical. I'm really enjoying it. I'm predicting a 4-star. It's not giving me the 5-star Darcy feels, but I would be shocked if I don't give it a 4-star. I finished it. I gave it 4 stars. This was so freaking close to a 5-star though. It's like 0.20 points off of a 5-star on my rating system. I literally texted in my group chat and was like, guys, this video could be over. Like, what am I gonna do if I give this 5 stars? Because I'm not ready for this vlog to be over yet. But I did give it 4 stars. The predictability did like lead me to being a little less in my enjoyment and a little bit less in the plot. However, although I guessed who the killer was really early on in terms of like, I'm pretty sure that that's it, every red herring to me in this book felt like a valid person it could be. I was still pretty sure that I thought I knew who was going to be the killer, but I believed every red herring as well. I was like, wait, but what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? That made my enjoyment of this really, really good because I've read some thrillers where like the red herrings don't even do a good job. And I felt like this was a very believable, like if I was in this situation, I would think that was the killer. If I was in this situation, I would think that was the killer. You know, like I really related to our main character and how analytical she was about things, especially because she was thrown out of her element into something that she would have never done. I will say, like, I just love this type of story. This reminded me of Near the Bone and One by One having a baby and meeting in the middle. It had some of the horror of Near the Bone for me, but that thrilling pace that things like One by One have. This is like your classic One by One trope. It's something I actually really like. I like trying to figure out who I think the killer is gonna be. I had a really good time with this one. A really good time. I also cared about characters. I maybe was really intrigued as my sister is a 911 responder. I thought hearing about the first responder and some of the things that they've gone through and things that they've said was really interesting as someone who has someone who experiences what they experience in their life. And I thought they did a pretty good job at that experience. I don't know if I ever described to you what Dead of Winter is. We're following a main character who joins a tour group. There's about 10 of them. They're going to stay at this lodge by themselves. It's like an intimate vacation with 10 strangers. They're caught in a storm and they never make it to the lodge. And slowly, one by one, people in their group start getting murdered. You should pick it up. Honestly, Darcy Coates, I just stan Darcy Coates. Darcy Coates has not written a bad book. Not at all. Like, not a single bad book. I'm obsessed with Darcy. That's all. Bye. See you in the next book. It's so funny how, like, changing up your room and, like, the space really matters. Since I have changed my room up, I've been hanging out in my room so much more often than I normally do. I'm literally even working in it currently, which I have a desk. Like, I have a desk to work at, but I just want it to be in this space, which I think is fun. I am about 35% into Mayfly. I didn't know a lot about this story. I knew from the synopsis that we were following a girl who decides to, like, kind of at night end up being a serial killer. And it kind of, when I read the synopsis, reminded me a little bit of Hannah Montana, but, like, serial killer. As I've been listening, I have been kind of a little bit bored. I think this started out really strong. I really liked the opening scene. I thought it was funny and like disturbing because of the voice that we're in. We're like essentially in Maeve's head during this. And she's not a good person. Like, she's definitely effed up in the head. And I really enjoyed the disturbing but funny comedy of that first scene. And I think the book has definitely, like, leaned into that style. However, it's not, like, 100% working for me. I decided to go read some reviews, and I had no idea this was extreme horror. I mean, I don't have triggers. I enjoy extreme horror, so it's not something I, like, really look into in my horror books. I just kind of, like, pick up a book that sounds good to me and read it. For any of you who do have triggers or don't enjoy extreme horror, this is like splatterpunk extreme horror, so it definitely leans into more of like the sexual side of things. There's a warning. So far I'm bored. I'm not hating it. I'm not loving it. It feels like a 3-star currently. Good morning! I'm about to go book shopping, which is really exciting, but I did finish Maeve Fly yesterday, so we needed to talk about that. I didn't love Maeve Fly. I honestly found it really boring. I thought that there was no plot. We really didn't get to see the gruesomeness of the murders for something that some people describe as extreme horror and splatterpunk. It didn't really remind me of extreme horror in terms of like disgustingness, because I've read lots of extreme horrors where you're literally seeing them do these like heinous actions. But it did remind me of extreme horror in the way that like the things that are happening are only happening for shock value. They're not really set up very well. The motivations aren't 100% there. It's mostly like, I want to kill someone this way, so I'm gonna kill someone this way. Essentially, this story is just like following Maeve, and we're in Maeve's head, and Maeve just wants to kill people, and I found her just like a really boring character to be in. I have enjoyed other stories where we've been in someone's head. Maeve was just like, she had no personality to me besides the fact that she was gonna kill someone, maybe multiple people. She really liked American Psycho, and that she is a Disney princess, which is Frozen, but they refuse to say the word Frozen, which annoyed me so much this entire time, because they say every other princess name, but they refuse to state that she's Elsa, and they even have like a let it go moment, so she's clearly Elsa. It drove me insane and like took me out of the story at times, which is just like a nitpick. I didn't really love the homage to like Disney princesses and LA vibes and things like that, but I think a lot of people do, and especially if you lived in LA, you probably really would. I obviously don't have those vibes as I live in Alberta, Canada. I just wanted to skip over them. I was like, this isn't needed for me. This doesn't add to my enjoyment of the story because it's not a vibe that I understand and I get, which is a me thing, not a book thing. I think a lot of people who live in LA or like know more about LA and like all of that could really enjoy that. I also don't really like Disney princesses, not gonna lie, so I was like, can we just get out of this park? Although like I did like the idea of her being a Disney princess at day and then a serial killer at night, and that like opposition that they had, those are very different vibes. You would think that a Disney princess couldn't be a serial killer. Like, I liked that, but I feel like we didn't play on that enough. The story is also a love letter to American Psycho, and I think that if you enjoyed American Psycho, you could enjoy this a little bit more. I haven't actually read the source material. I've seen like films and stuff, but I haven't read like American Psycho. And I do know that there is a lot of crossover scenes that happen within this. There is definitely a lot of inspiration being pulled from American Psycho. And I think that if you love American Psycho, you will see those things. They will pull together and they will like really work for you, because I think that the inspiration was done quite well, but it just didn't work for me. This whole story just really didn't work for me. I just found it really boring. I wanted a little bit more plot. I think this book sums up to two things for me. It is an in-your-head story like Mary is, but I enjoyed Mary way more. And it's also a bit of a dark romance, which I didn't know going into it, but I've read better dark romances. Into the Dark by Dana Islay fucked my mind up. And it was so good in my opinion and so effed up. And I think that this is like if those two had a baby but not as good as either of them. It just really didn't work for me. I wanted the romance to be a higher part of the story in order to make me care a little bit more, because I didn't care about the ending, because I didn't really care about the romance. But I think if they had really like made me feel this romance, then it would have really hit me a little bit harder and more disturbing. 2 stars to Maeve Fly. I hope you like it though. I don't know what I'm reading next, but I'm gonna go to the bookstore. Maybe I'll pick up a book to read. Maybe that'll be a thing.
Hi, can I get a combo number 3 with soft tacos? And then can I get my fries supremed but no meat on those? Dr. Pepper, please. That's everything.
Taco Bell is the bestest in the world. Honestly, I feel like Lexi has been on loud in here. I feel like Lexi, I've been on my Taco Bell bullshit this like whole month. Well, last month, I guess it's a new month. 2 months! And just eating Taco Bell. Anytime. Anytime I can. Good morning. My witch's hat came for my announcement for my Patreon November readathon. I have a whole outfit planned and I needed this, which is really exciting. I'm gonna make myself an iced coffee. I just woke up, I showered, doing all that. So watch me make an iced coffee. And please ignore how messy my kitchen is. I need to clean it. I have everything out. Wow. These Starbucks iced coffee things, game changer. Makes iced coffee so easy. I'm about to start Briar Dark, which was a Lexi recommendation, but Lexi hasn't read it and she's recommending it because Carly won't shut up about it. And so it's really a Carly recommendation. Hi, Carly. I know literally nothing about it. I know it's survival horror meets cosmic horror. It has Rex like Lost meets House of Hollow. I think I could like that. Eggnog is the star of this show, but I do also have some cold foam. And you can't forget pumpkin pie spice. Doesn't that look delicious? I made myself a very, very gooey breakfast sandwich for lunch and I'm really excited about that. I'm probably a third into Briar Dark. I am really enjoying it so far. It definitely has survival and cosmic in it. I'm really enjoying it. I will give you a proper synopsis in my next update, which should be around 50%. But I am just like loving the like creepiness that's happening right now. I feel like there's really good atmosphere happening, but also really good plot. I'm really intrigued. I'm about 50% in and I'm really enjoying this. I think the intrigue levels are very high for me. I'm really liking the 2 timelines that are happening, although I'm not really sure if they're timelines at this moment in time or just different POVs. This book follows a group of scientists who go into the forest for a science expedition and they're going to a glacier when they find a dead body in the tree and they can't seem to reach help. And from there on, just weird shit keeps happening to them. Like the science isn't adding up. It's like they're in a different setting, like they're seeing things, like weird stuff just keeps happening. Sciencing. And I'm just like really intrigued by all of that. I know it's gonna be weird because the cosmic horror part, but I'm really also loving the like survival tense elements of this. And seeing how all the characters cope within this thing. There is a little bit of mixed media in this, and I don't love the mixed media, but for all of you who do, it is there. It's just like random to me. There's just like, I like the interviews, but like there's like these random like letters or like things like that that just feel very random and not needed to me. I would rather just more narrative. That's a me thing though. But honestly, I'm really, really enjoying this. I'm gonna fly through the last 50% and I will get back to you. I think it's feeling like a 4-star currently. Just, I wish I was connected a little bit more to characters than I am. I finished Briar Dark. There were a lot of things I really enjoyed about this book. For a while I thought it could be a 5-star, then I thought it could be a 4-star. I think I ended up on a high 3-star. Here's the thing. This is the first book in a series. And it is way too long for the amount of answers we do not get. I really enjoyed it, but it's left on the biggest cliffhanger. Like, I feel like nothing was explained enough for me. And yes, I want to read book 2, but I'm also worried that this is going to be a book that I forget about and never end up getting to book 2. I wish it had been a standalone. I wish we had just gotten all the answers in this book. I enjoyed it, but not enough to say I was there for just the vibes. I was definitely there for plot still. And I feel like we didn't get any answers. And not like because it's left ambiguous, because it is only book 1 of a series. But I wish there had been something summed up a little bit better. But there's a lot of things I really liked about this. I loved the different POVs, the different like timelines overlapping against each other. I loved the playing with science and physics and what that meant for a cosmic horror. I loved the survival elements of this. I loved some of the paranoia, but I wish I had gotten more paranoia. I wish I had really felt for the characters a little bit more. I think that's really where a lot of my 3-star comes from, is if I had cared a little bit more about the characters, if I had been a little bit more invested into what was happening to them, I think I would have not cared as much about the very big cliffhanger. And I'm also confused because I don't know where book 2 is gonna go. I feel like it ends in a cliffhanger, but not enough of a cliffhanger that like I can understand a whole nother book written about it. This book could have been shorter and then it would have made sense for it to be a sequel or a little bit longer. And I think we could have gotten real answers. But who's to say I don't just like absolutely adore book 2, because like I do think that this was really cool. There is a lot that I personally haven't seen done in a book that I've read. So I really enjoyed that. And I do think the setting was just really, really cool. Like I really, really, really enjoyed the setting and what that meant. And I think a lot of my horror friends are going to end up giving this 4 stars. I don't know if it's a 5-star book. I don't know. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one, which is good because I feel like I needed a good book right now. But of course I'm hoping for 5 stars. So what do we pick up next? That is the question. Before we do that though, I do have mail that I can open. It's from Mel. It's her Patreon bookmark and I'm obsessed with this. What? This is so pretty. And then here's the back. Stunning, stunning, stunning all around. It says, I'm so glad to live in a world where there are Octobers. It also says the same like on this side. It says it on both, but this one's like big and this one's just in the corner. That's all. I'm gonna be using this in October because who wouldn't?
Okay, I've started There's No Way I'd Die first, and I do have some first impressions for you guys. I'm only 30 pages in, chapter 4, so like not far in.
And a little bit of Mickey Snuggles before we update you.
I'm sadly a little scared that this book is not going to be for me. I do say I like YA horror, but this reads so YA. I'm like literally scared. What I didn't realize is we're following a bunch of influencers, which it does say in the synopsis, but I kind of just assumed like your regular, like it says the top influencers from their school. So I just kind of thought like the popular kids. We are literally following rich and famous people here. Like it is high school kids, but they have like millions of followers. They're actors, like really, really rich kids, which already has me like disconnecting from the story because I don't really care about what they're talking about. I think they're definitely like bragging about their like income and things like that. The other thing that I'm struggling with is something that really young books do for me that I don't like is they describe what everyone wears all of the time. Someone walks into a room, they're wearing hot pink pants that make them look like Barbie and blank and blank. Oh, they walk into another room and we're re-describing that, or a new character comes in and we're always describing what they're wearing. I mean, yes, we have a Halloween party, so I'm assuming costumes do matter in this. However, like, I just didn't really care. Like, we didn't need to describe it so much. You could tell me that these people are the Addams family without literally describing what they're wearing. You could tell me they're dressed up as Squid Game without literally describing every sequin on the Squid Game outfit. It just reads very YA to me, and it's just not something I really, really love. So although I was expecting this to be YA horror, I feel like this feels more like a teen book than like the older YA that I love. And I felt like Clown in a Cornfield read a little bit older. This is I'm struggling with so far, but I'm really excited. We haven't got to like any of the slashing yet. And that is the part that I love about things like this, is like the action. I'm hoping that I like that. It's not a write-off yet. It's feeling like a 3-star at this moment in time, but I'm hoping that the action leads me forward, because like I am really intrigued. I think my goal is to just have fun with this book, but man, the line just says it's 43 degrees Fahrenheit and rainy. Hypothermia can set in as few as 5 minutes with exposed skin, and I'm practically naked in this pink mini dress. That's only 6 degrees Celsius according to Google. That's not even below freezing. Unless Google's wrong. But even then, you could survive. You could run outside. You could survive hours running. Trust me, I've worn less in minus weathers. Halloween here happens in minus, like minus 20 normally, and I'm wearing Halloween costumes. What? What? She's also discussing how she needs to put her boots on and how long her boots take to put on before running outside if she were going to run outside. And these are like reasons why she's not going to go run outside, because those sound like dumb decisions to her. You know what's dumb? Staying in the house with the killer clown. I'd be running barefoot, yelling, calling cops, going as fast as I could for as far as I can after I just saw someone got murdered by a killer clown. The logic is not logicking for me. I'm 50% into the book. I'm on page 157. There are some comments and stuff that really annoy me, like the Celsius thing. There are like things that I feel like don't completely make sense. There's some influencer stuff where I'm like, that's not actually how it works. There's stuff like that. But overall, I'm having a lot of fun. Like, this would make a really good movie. I actually am really enjoying it, which is really good. Like, it's just like, I'm here for the fun vibes, and I also am liking some of the deeper discussion on society as well, which is something I also loved about Clown in the Cornfield, so I'm really happy that this book is giving that to me. If you get past the writing, because I don't love the writing. but I'm enjoying the slasher. I finished it 4 stars. I had a really good time in the end. I'm really, really happy I read this. I'm so excited for the live show discussion. I'll be interested to see if we all agree, if we all liked it. I had a lot of fun with this. I really liked it. Like, the societal discussions in this were top tier. Like, the message that this is discussing and the way it discusses it, I think, is really, really well done in my opinion. And I don't even know how to talk about this. Maybe I'll process it and I'll talk to you about it in the morning. That sounds like a good idea because, like, I'm just vibing right now. I really enjoyed that in the end. Good morning. I finished this. Let's talk about it. You saw me give it 4 stars. First off, I would like to say that if you are interested in reading this or have read this, there will be a live show discussion happening on Sav from Riveting Reads channel. This was her book club pick for the month of October, the Lights Out Book Club. So Sav, me, and Cat Chats will all be discussing this on Sav's channel at some point. End of October, early November, I think. I will let you know when I have an updated time for when that live show happens. It hasn't been scheduled yet. I think it's going to be a really interesting discussion because, as you saw, I ended up really vibing with this and having a lot of fun. But looking at Goodreads reviews, there are people who really liked it like I did, and then there are people who really didn't like it. It'll be interesting to see where things fit because I think that this is a very stereotypical YA slasher in a lot of ways, which is something I just enjoy and I have fun with. I can understand a lot of the flaws in it. If you don't know what this story is about, we're following our main character who loves horror movies. So she starts a horror movie club called Jump Scares where they watch a horror movie and they discuss it in depth online as well.
I end up on a tangent and don't tell you what this is about. She has a Halloween party, a clown is hired to play tag, but it ends up being a run for your lives.
This is a horror book written by a Black author. If you are participating in Blackoween, this would count. Most of this aspect of this book actually comes from seeing the privileged characters doing privileged things. And there is a discussion in this book that I really enjoyed around that. And yes, it was annoying at times. I will say that's one of the #1 complaints I saw on Goodreads was people were really annoyed by these influencers. Like, these are the 1% of the world. Like, a lot of nepotism babies, you know, like, these were these people in this. And yes, at times, they are so freaking annoying. But for what this ends up adding to the story and the ending for me, I didn't mind the annoying at the beginning. And also, like, with a slasher, I feel like the characters are just annoying. Like, stereotypical annoying characters are kind of like my vibe in a slasher. So they just, like, can't make you care about all the characters. So you typically know who's gonna be at the end because they're the characters that make you care for the most. Because, like, they don't want you sobbing the entire story. That's not the point of a slasher. Like, the point is not to be sobbing because you cared so much about those characters. That's why a lot of them are just very stereotypical. It's something I don't mind, but I could understand why others would. Another big flaw of this one for me is the setting. I loved the setting. The, like, big mansion house really worked for me. However, I have no idea the layout of this house. I wish there had been a blueprint at the beginning of this that I could maybe refer back to. Because I don't normally care about, like, where we are in the house, but I'm like, that basement door came out of nowhere. I really, really could have, like, understood the house a little bit better than I did. Overall, though, I think that this is just a blast. And if you're willing to just have fun with it, you're gonna have fun with it. Because there are logical issues. Like, there are definitely logical issues in this. She says things don't break and then they break later on. There's, like, random things. I feel like random things that appear. A horse is in the house at some point. How did that horse get in if you can't get out? You know, like, there are logical issues. But I had fun. And Gage the clown really reminds me of Ghostface. He was just really funny at times while also being, like, really disturbing. And Ghostface is my favorite horror movie villain. So I really enjoyed this. It gave me Scream vibes. It was over the top and fun, and I just, like, really had a good time with this. The writing definitely wasn't my favorite at the beginning, but by the end of it, I think it really had reached its stride, and I will definitely be picking up more from this author as this is her debut.
We just had my first Patreon watch along. I'd never done one before, and we decided to watch the Vampire Diaries together. So we watched episode 1 and 2, and then next Wednesday, it's the 5th today. So then Wednesday, the next Wednesday from now, we're watching episodes 3 and 4, and then next Thursday after that, like 1-2 episodes every week essentially is what we're doing. I don't know why I made that so difficult, but I had such a blast, and Vampire Diaries is just, like, the perfect time for. I love spooky season vibes of Vampire Diaries. It's one of my favorite shows, so I'm really excited about that. I do need to start a book. I'm debating picking up What Kind of Mother. I think that this could be a 5 stars since I gave Ghost Years 5 stars. However, I don't know if I'm ready for it. I'm also thinking about reading The September House, so that's what I'm kind of debating between right now. I did put a poll up on Patreon, and What Kind of Mother did win. I don't know what to do, because, like, I don't know if I'm feeling What Kind of Mother yet. So, dilemmas.
Good morning. I ended up ignoring my poll last night, and I decided to start The September House. For breakfast, I'm having an eggnog latte, and I decided to order crumble cookies. They had such good flavors. They had pumpkin pie, a pumpkin caramel, a white cranberry chocolate chip, and a berry explosion. And these look to die for. I'm so excited to eat them. That's what I'm eating for breakfast. It is a little bit later in the day because I actually ended up staying up quite late and then also reading this morning of The September House. I was really enjoying the beginning aspects of this. I thought that it was really fun. If you don't know what The September House is about, we're following our main character who buys a house. This house is haunted. And instead of, being that usual person who's like, I need to do an exorcism here, get the ghosts rid of, that fails, they end up moving out, selling their house. She's like, no, y'all ghosts, you ain't gonna beat me. And she stays in the house and learns to live with them, which is so quirky and fun, and I'm really, really enjoying the atmosphere. She'll just go downstairs in the morning and there's blood dripping down her stairs, and she's just like, I'm not even gonna clean you up, because cleaning you up lets the ghosts win. I just love this setting, and I think it's a lot of fun. This to me is the perfect intro to spooky season book. So when I start spooky season off, I tend to like something a little bit more cozier and fun. I'm watching movies like Halloweentown and Beetlejuice, things like that. And then the deeper I get into spooky season, it slowly becomes darker and darker and darker. I'll watch Scream, and then, goes a little bit deeper, and then I'm watching the really all-out scary movie. So I feel like this is the perfect book for that, because it's cozy and it's got ghosts, so it's that perfect starting point of Halloweentown and things like that. I just feel like it fits the beginning fall vibes so well. I'm at about 46% into this book. My thoughts so far are pretty good. I think it is a little repetitive for me. I really, really liked the setup at the beginning, and then the last 10% I've felt has dragged on a little bit. It's been a little too repetitive in the scenes that we're seeing. We're seeing a mother and a daughter never leave their house, because essentially the plot of this story is that something is happening. There's a bit of a mystery about what's happening in the house, and her daughter comes to visit her for the first time, and she's trying to keep it hidden from her daughter that there's ghosts in this house and that there's something going on that's bigger than just normal life stuff in this house. Because she doesn't want her daughter to tell her to sell the house because it's hers and she likes it, ghosts and all. It's just quirky. I don't know, it's just quirky. But it is a little repetitive in conversations get repetitive. The things that are happening with the ghosts, because the ghosts are very repetitive in what happens to them. Pacing is bothering me a little bit, but I'm still really intrigued to see what's gonna happen next. So I'm just overall really excited about that. And I'm excited to see, I've heard the ending is a whirlwind, so I'm very excited to see what the ending is. And I just can't wait to keep on reading it, which is really good. Now it's time for some cookies. Okay, I have my little tester plate to try some of these. Let's put you down. Mickey, would you like to say hi? He loves to sunbathe. When I get crumble, I always like to try every little cookie, so I always cut them up small. This is the one I'm least excited for, so let's try it first. White cranberry. It just tasted like a basic cookie. Nothing special. It's caramel guy next. Oh, the caramel. He's pretty good. He's a sweet boy, but he good. Let's do the pumpkin pie one, because the berry one just looks really good to me. So does the pumpkin pie. I love pumpkin pie. Plus, I always like their pie cookies. Delicious. Okay, the berry one. I'm ready for it. That's pretty good. I liked that one too. Those were all wins, but my mouth is so sweet now. Thank the Lord for coffee. I'll see you guys tonight when I finish the book. Hi, I finished The September House, and I also got a merch delivery, so let's unpack that together. Overall, I enjoyed The September House. I ended up giving it 3 stars. Sorry, my hair is still drying. I literally showered. It is Thanksgiving weekend here, so we are doing a lot of cleaning to get ready for dinner. Now, the thing with The September House is it's cozy. It is not necessarily horror. I definitely think it is a good get you into horror type story because it does have some body horror, it does have some gore, and it does have a ghost atmosphere, but it never felt like I was supposed to be really, 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 really scared about what was happening. It just kind of felt cozy, and I really did like that. It does remind me of Darcy Coates meets Grady Hendrix. I think this book was too long. Like, far too long for what it was. It could have easily been a 4-star for me if it had been a little tightened up. It was a little too repetitive for me in the narrative. I did think it was in some ways predictable, but I also really enjoyed it as I went, and I just had a fun time with it. I don't think it is a horror to be taken too seriously, but it still had really good messages, and I loved the duality of abuse and these ghosts and what that meant for our main character and her strengths and her weaknesses within this story. I really did enjoy this. I had a fun time with it. I went through it in like 2 days. I read it in pretty much 2 sittings. I sat down each night and just read 50%. I had a good time with it. I would definitely recommend it to those that aren't fully sure if horror is a genre that they think that they can like, and just like dip your toes into a little bit of coziness. This is so exciting though, because this is my backlist merch. I had been sitting on this design for like 3 months now, just waiting for the last live show to be scheduled so I could put these out. Oh my god. It looks even better than I thought it would. Backlist World Tour. This is the front. This is the blue and white colorway, and so on the back it just says Backlist World Tour, and then it has all the dates of our live shows and what live show it was, starting at March 5th in 2022, going all the way down to the last live show that will happen this year, which will be on November 5th of 2023. I think that this looks sick. Oh my god, I'm so happy with the way this turned out. I had to get myself both a sweater and a t-shirt. The tie-dye t-shirt in black. The front is exactly the same, and the back is the same except for the colors are different on this one. There are 2 different types of colors. So this one has yellow, red, and white, and I think both turned out so good. I'm gonna go put them on right now. I'm so excited. Do you want to see what they look like on me? We can do that. We could do like a little... This looks so good. I am so freaking happy with the way that this turned out. If you are wanting to order some, you can still. The link will be in the description down below for the current campaign.
Okay, I've decided to start What Kind of Mother next. This is a 5-star prediction for me because I did absolutely love and devour Ghost Eaters earlier this year. This was a 5-star for me. New favorite of all time for horror. However, I've also read Whisper Down the Lane by the same author, and I didn't love that one. I actually gave it only like a low 3, maybe even a 2-star. So this could go in any direction. I'm really hoping I love it just as much as Ghost Eaters. I'm also going to listen to the audiobook while I fold all my laundry. I have to decide what bookmark I use because these are stunning. I haven't used the Halloweekend bookmark yet, so I probably should. But like also, I feel like Mel's Patreon bookmark really fits the vibe going on right now. But also, kind of so does mine. I don't know.
Okay, I have started What Kind of Mother. I ended up going with the Halloweekend bookmark, and I'm decently far in. I'm on page 139, so I'm probably around like 47% of the way through. I'm enjoying this, but it's not a new favorite. This has been a good mix of that breakneck speed that Ghost Eaters was and the slow speed that Whisper Down the Lane is. However, I personally really enjoyed the breakneck speed. This definitely like slows down a little bit while still moving faster than Whisper Down the Lane did to me personally. I didn't have this instant like creepy factor the way I did in Ghost Eaters. Like Ghost Eaters from the very first page, I was just like sucked in by the atmosphere and the creepiness and the vibes it was giving off. I think the domestic suspense is just not working for me. I would say Whisper Down the Lane also had a lot of domestic suspense, and I don't know if I love like domestic suspense stories. This is following our main character who is a palm reader to get by, and she ends up back at the town she grew up in, where she ends up reading the palm of Henry's child has just gone missing. Everyone else in town believes he's dead, but Henry is still looking for him. He believes he's still alive. When she reads Henry's palm, she sees something supernatural. Maybe my expectations for this book just wasn't what it is made out to be. I want more weirdness, really. I want just a little bit more supernatural weirdness. We got a few scenes of it, but we haven't gotten a lot. So I'm hoping the latter half really like amps it up for me. I think I'm sitting around a 4-star currently. I have a feeling the end will either make it a 3 or a 5. I'm not sure it'll stay at a 4. I'm still hoping for a 5-star out of it. I really truly am, but you just never know with my reading taste. So I finished What Kind of Mother. I didn't love it. I'm giving it a really low 3.
I liked it more than Whisper Down the Lane, but it's no Ghost Eaters in my opinion. I actually, when scouring Goodreads, found Clint McCloy Chapman's own review of his book. Of course he gave it 5 stars, but he said, a book only a mother could love. And I think that there's something very true about that review, because I struggled my way through this because I think a lot of the horrifying elements are about motherhood and your sense of self being lost and the sacrifices you make as a mother. And I just I didn't feel any of those because I'm not a mother. I literally am not a mother. I have no want to be a mother. Those things that are so horrifying are things that I can't even imagine feeling because I don't have that want or that, I don't know. I don't know. It's something I struggle with very often in books is just I can't relate to that, and it then gets really boring to me, and that is kind of the epitome of this. I really liked the first 120 pages, and then after that I just felt like this went slowly downhill for me. I was just very bored. I didn't really care where the story was going. I didn't really feel like it was that horrifying. I wanted the feeling I felt in Ghost Eaters where I literally wanted to throw up reading scenes because they were disturbing. I didn't feel that in this. I think that this really is a mix of Ghost Eaters and Whisper Down the Lane. If you liked that slower side, the mystery and this tale and this very spiral of this person, I think Whisper Down the Lane does that very well. I also didn't like Whisper Down the Lane. This is so sad. Why can't I just have a favorite author that every book I pick up from them is 5 stars? That is what I want in my life. I want to be able to say oh, that person's coming out with a new book, it's gonna be 5 stars. But I can't. I literally just can't, and it drives me up a wall because it's all I want in life. But I'm such a story person. I really have to relate to the story. I have to be interested in this story. It's not about the writing style as much for me. And I'm so disappointed in this one. Yeah. On to the next one. At this point, this vlog is never gonna end because this was my winning book. This was the book I thought was gonna end this vlog. I was I've been saving this book to be okay, when I'm ready to actually end this, I'm gonna pick this up and it's gonna be a 5 star, and it wasn't. So what next? What next?
Okay, friends, I have started Taste Like Candy and I'm about 20% in. Also, Mickey is being so cute with his little paw.
So, Taste Like Candy, my initial thoughts are so far, I'm vibing. I'm really vibing. I really like the writing style. We haven't seen any of the slashing yet. No slashing has been started. But I like that we spent this first 20% really getting to know our characters. I'm already rooting for them, which is why I like this character setup, because it makes me really care about the situation they're about to be in. Taste Like Candy, let me look at the Goodreads synopsis. So what you're supposed to know going into this is that these kids are going into their senior year of high school, and before they do this, they have this school tradition of a scavenger night that is put on by the most popular girl. The girl invites everyone. It normally happens within the high school, but this year, in order to make it extra fun, they've decided that this must take place at the carnival, and they're going to sneak in to the carnival. Normally the school knows about the scavenger hunt, but this year things are getting a little risky. So the kids are just going in to do their scavenger hunt like every other year has done. However, as soon as they get in there, someone with a mask starts killing them all off, and we have our slasher adventure. And I'm just really excited to get to the slasher. So I'm gonna keep reading because I think I could really like this one. I've reached 40%. The slashing hasn't started yet, but I am literally stressed. I'm so stressed. I love it. I love it. I love feeling like this. My heart is racing. The lights have been turned off because it's sleepy time, but I'm actually going to try and stay up and finish this. I just wanted to update you because I'm not sure how much I love the author's choice to make the kids high. It just kind of feels like a way to slow them down, and also the way they're acting feels over the top and dramatic to me. It doesn't feel like how you actually act when you've just done an edible. It feels a little bit too extreme and too dramatic in my personal opinion, but that's just me, and I'm still enjoying the book, and I'm enjoying the kills we've gotten so far. So that's all I had to say. I will probably update you next when I'm done. I don't think I will update you again in this vlog just because then I have to pull out my flashlight and do all of this, and that's just a lot of work. So I'll see you in the morning.
Good morning. I figured I should update you on Taste Like Candy because I did finish that last night. I think last time I talked to you I was having fun, but I think I did mention that the choice of making the kids impaired by drug use wasn't my favorite. And both of those feelings continued throughout the whole story for me. I had fun. However, a big downfall for this story for me was the kills. Because we decided to make the kids impaired, the killer has the easiest time killing them. And for my personal preference, I would have liked them to be on level playing fields. I would have liked a little bit more running and chasing. It just felt too easy to me that the killers could kill these kids. And like, I'm okay with some like really quick deaths, but for me, this just like it wasn't long enough. Like I think the story could have been long enough and we could have gotten rid of the drug use and just had some really fun, long-lasting kills in my opinion. Because like I did like that the kills revolved around the carnival. It wasn't just like, oh, he's got an axe, he's gonna keep swinging the axe and I'm gonna be dead. Like the kills were innovative. So I think if we had a little bit more like cat and mouse, that would have really worked for me. Honestly, that's like my biggest downfall is I just like didn't like that they were impaired. It just like ruined the fun for me because it made everything too easy. The other thing that it really did that pissed me off was it made them make the dumbest choices. It would be like, because I'm so high I can't make a decision, and then they'd just be standing in the open and the killer would come, and that just like, what is the fun in that? Like for me there was no fun in that stylistic choice. However, I still had an overall good time with the story and I enjoyed learning about our characters. I enjoyed the kills that we did get. Like, yes, I have the complaints about them, but like, as I said, I liked that they involved the carnival. I did overall like the motives. I really wish it was kind of built on a little bit, and also I wish we had had a couple more red herrings, or at least a red herring within the story. Typically when I read a slasher, I think that there's two people it could be. One is a very obvious choice and one is the red herring. In this one, I didn't think that we really had a red herring. Pretty much right before the slashing started, I knew who it was, and then as the slashing started, I was definitely like verified in that. So it wasn't a surprise to me, and not that it normally is a surprise to me in a slasher who the murderer is, but I do like when the author does try to trick you, even if like you don't believe it. I like that, and I kind of wish we had that a little bit more. Overall, I had fun with this story. I'm giving it a 3-star, a high 3. It'll definitely go on a list of slasher recommendations from me. However, just like it wasn't an all-time favorite because of those small nitpicks that I do have. But I did have fun with it, and I think that if you're just trying to have fun with a story, Taste Like Candy is a vibe, especially if you're looking for like a carnival. I'm not sure if the carnival setting actually works for me. This will be my 3rd slasher that I've read at a carnival, and I'm not 100% sure that it works for me. Because I read this, I read Cirque Berserk, and I also technically DNF'd the Cotton Candy Massacre, and these were all at a carnival. So like maybe the setting just doesn't work for me. Interesting things to think about now. Now do I need like a slasher vlog to like figure that out? Do I like slashers that happen in carnivals? Maybe. Anyways, let's get to reading the next book. I'm ready for this video to be over. I'm ready for a 5-star. It's not that I'm ready for this video to be over, but like reading all these books that I thought could be 5 stars and then having them not be 5 stars, it's just so disappointing. Like what? Why? Why can't I just love books? Good morning. The sun is shining in my eyeballs. It's that time of the day. I'm off to go get Nick and me coffee for the day, but I also have to tell you about the nestlings, but I'm not gonna do that while I'm here.
Hi, can I get 2 medium French vanillas?
Nick and me both didn't sleep very well last night, so I picked us some coffees, sweet coffees. We got French vanillas from Tim Hortons, which are really, really sweet and not like real coffee, but like we were just craving it after not sleeping. Like a little bit of a sugar high is needed. I have started The Nestlings by Nat Cassidy. Nat Cassidy wrote Mary, and Mary's a book that I gave 3 stars, but since then have thought of it as more like a 4-star read. I definitely like think back very fondly on Mary. I'm getting the same vibes from The Nestlings. The Nestling says that it's the creepy paranoia of Rosemary's Baby and the urban horror of Salem's Lot. I've seen bits of the Salem Lot's show from like the 80s, but I've never like read the book. I am ashamed to say that I have read nothing or seen anything about Rosemary's Baby. So I kind of went into this a little bit blind, which I really liked and I thought was fun and I enjoyed. Definitely feels like the paranoia and the creepy vibe. Like I am getting that. And that is something I love to feel in my horror books, is just like on the edge of my seat for whatever reason, whether it's because I'm actually creeped out or because my character just feels like they're losing their mind slowly. And I think that this book is doing both of those for me, where I'm like, oh my god, this poor woman, but I'm also like, oh my god, what the frick is happening? And I'm like really enjoying that. I think that the creepy atmosphere is being set very well. I'm like 26% in, so there's a lot that could change or like whatever, but like definitely the startup I've really enjoyed. It's also made me like, I already don't want kids, and reading this just like reinforces how much I don't want kids, and also that like the world keeps side effects from pregnancy from you, and it drives me up a wall how much like we don't teach about like the things that can go wrong in pregnancy, because we're trying to get people to have children and we don't want to scare people. But I think the scariest thing is the unknown, and I wish that we were taught better stuff, because there is a lot of things that they're like 1 in a million, so I get why they don't tell you, but like I still want to know that. Going in, I want to know what all of my risks are, and you don't learn these risks until you're actually fucking pregnant, and then it's too late. So like, why doesn't school teach us better? That's all. That's my little rant for the day about how the education system just really fails us in all manners of ways. But yeah, I'm gonna go drink my coffee, read my book, and get ready for the corn maze, because I can't look like this when I go out later. Bye.
Break your teeth on that.
Yeah, it's not cooked.
Oh,
Don't eat that.
you can take this home with you.
What kind of trivia? What comic book writer has a cameo in almost Stanley? Turn right.
What if they fucking chop my fingers off? I'm kind of scared. Like, do they have teeth? I want to give it to a little boy here.
Wait, that was good. Hi friends, I am about 50% into the nestlings and I honestly am loving it, like loving it so much. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking that this could be the book that ends this vlog. I think it will be, and that makes me very excited. I just think Nat Cassidy does tension so good. I literally feel like disturbed reading so many scenes. Whether that's because I'm disturbed about outside things or I'm disturbed about thoughts the characters are having. It's all of that. I love both of those things in this book, because we do get a multitude of POVs within this story. And I think that could put off some people, but as a fantasy reader, I love a good multi-POV story. The more the merrier, in my opinion. I think the little extra POVs added in make it feel more well-rounded, and there are some POVs that we get that I literally am like, oh, like, why am I in this person's head? Like, I don't like this. Like, get me out of this character's head. But then at the same time, I'm like, I'm loving feeling this way. Perfect story for me. Like, perfect atmosphere. I think atmosphere is the #1 thing I look for in horror books. So if you have any good atmospheric, like, puts me on the edge, makes me just feel like tense at all times, like anything could happen, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. It doesn't necessarily need to not be predictable, it just needs to have me like feeling like anything could happen at this moment in time. Like anything. But like also I probably know where the story's going, but like at the same time, like, what? And yeah, I'm just like overall like really liking this vibe. It reminds me of Mary in terms of just like this like claustrophobic feeling while reading and being in these characters' thoughts. Like, they just feel so claustrophobic at all times and I'm loving it. If you don't know what The Nestlings is about, I actually currently have an arc of it. It's not out till the end of October. Who knows when this video is going to be up. And The Nestlings follows our main characters who just had a lovely baby together. When having this child, our female character, the mother, ends up hitting a nerve wrong, and then she ends up not having feelings in her two legs and ends up in a wheelchair. And she's essentially paralyzed with the ability to go through training to hopefully one day not be paralyzed. Like, it's not for sure that it's going to be forever, but it could be. And they're just getting bad luck after bad luck after bad luck, but finally good luck happens and they win the like low income housing lottery and they get to move into one of the richest buildings in New York City. They get an apartment that would be like for the rich, but for a very like affordable price that they can afford, and they move in. This apartment is not wheelchair friendly and they haven't really quite figured out the whole neighbor thing yet. And then it just like goes on from there, and I just think it's so good. I'm having so fun. I want to keep reading. I will update you in a bit. I have 30 minutes left in The Nestling and I'm just sitting here like, what the frick is gonna happen? I need to know. 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 I finished The Nestlings and this was a very, very easy 5-star from me, which means I can end this vlog, which I had a feeling I would really like The Nestlings. So it wasn't originally in my plan to read for this video since I did only have an arc of it and it's not out yet. The video kept going on and on and on. I was like, I need to pull out a big banger, and The Nestlings was that banger. I personally just think that Nat Cassidy writes with his heart and his soul, and you can really tell that from the afterwards. Both Mary and The Nestlings had this like very deep afterward, and I loved it. I want more horror authors to do that for me. I actually just want more authors in general. I really like seeing his creative process, where he took inspiration from and like things like that. I think that's very like fascinating to me, and it also made me feel like connected to him in both instances, because both reasons why he wrote these stories were very emotional moments for him, which in turn made, I think, the books very emotional and made me connect to the books so much. This was not the story I expected going into it at all. Like, this went ways that I didn't foresee coming. However, I loved it. I enjoyed it. It fascinated me. Sometimes when a story goes in a direction that I'm not expecting, it can really let me down because like I wanted that story I was expecting. Where in this one, it just went and I just went with it. I was like, cool, I'm hopping on the roller coaster and take me where we go. I don't even know how to like sum up my words for this because I just had so much fun with this book. Do I think that it's the spookiest story I've ever read? No. I think Mary put me on the edge of my seat a little bit more. I was a little bit more scared in Mary, but I think this book horrified me more. Like, I just felt disturbed by things that were happening. The emotions, things that were happening were just like relatable. They were scary in a different way than Mary was for me. It was scary on a level of like emotional connection, and I don't think that this is a book that's going to give you like jump scares, but I think it's a book that's going to make you think and feel, and like sometimes that is just as terrifying in my opinion. And I just like overall just like really had a fun time with this story. Chef's Kiss, that is an author that has 2 books out that I love. That is like a first from me, that I like wholeheartedly think that both these books are favorite books of mine. So I cannot wait for what Nat Cassidy writes next because I will be buying it 100%. I need it. I would like it right in front of me. I'm greedy. I need another book like right now because this was just too good. Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking about it. With that, I found my 5-star. I'm going to end this vlog. Only 9 books later. I believe if I counted right, it's 9. Thank you so much for watching this video, for hanging out on my content. I know horror content is not my typical content. I definitely lean into my fantasy side on YouTube. However, from the months of like October to like February, I do tend to read a lot more horror. I hope that you enjoy some of the horror content coming. It's October and I love Halloween, so I'm definitely reading more horror this month and my content is more focused. However, fantasy will be back. I promise you my channel will never not be fantasy based. Fantasy is my favorite genre. Like, look at it surrounding me. But like, I really appreciate any and all of you who watch my horror content as well. If you made it all the way to the end of this video and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say we're here, leave me a curling emoji, like a curling stone. And then if you want to connect with me on other platforms, my Bookstagram, my Book Twitter, my Goodreads, and my Patreon are all linked in the description bar below. Have yourself an absolutely incredible month.